Welcome back to Superbly Said Advanced English Vocabulary and Phrases.
Yeah, we are so glad you're here for this deep dive.
Definitely. And imagine you just launched an initiative at work that didn't merely succeed, but completely rewired how your entire industry operates.
Right, you didn't just, do a good job, you permanently altered the landscape.
Exactly. So today, we are looking at the exact language you need to describe that kind of explosive professional trajectory.
The really high-level stuff.
Yeah. And just real quick, today's vocabulary actually comes directly from a SpeakDuo lesson. You can go to SpeakDuo.com to meet new people from around the world who are practicing English on video calls to, become more confident with their English speaking abilities.
It's such a great resource. And, well, without further ado, we are diving straight into 15 highly specific idioms specifically curated for advanced English learners.
No messing around today.
Exactly. And rather than just, giving you a boring dictionary list, we're going to trace the chronological arc of a wildly successful career.
Right. So exploring how the language shifts from that initial spark of success all the way to building an empire and then finally passing the torch.
So let's start right at the beginning with that spark. The first phrase is to leave an indelible mark.
Oh, I love this one.
Yeah, it means making a permanent, unforgettable impact. And the origin here is just, well, it's fascinating because indelible actually comes from Latin.
Right, referring specifically to ink that cannot be erased or washed away.
Exactly. Which is why the distinction between this and simply making a good impression is just so crucial.
Yeah, because, you can make a good impression in a job interview, but a good impression is surface level. It fades.
Right. But an indelible mark physically alters the foundation. It literally cannot be undone.
I always picture, dropping a permanent black marker on a pristine white shirt. It's just there forever.
Oh, that's a perfect way to visualize it. So applied professionally, you might look at your boss and say, the new software system you implemented has left an indelible mark on our productivity.
You're communicating that the baseline has permanently shifted for the better.
Exactly. Or, if you are taking the IELTS speaking exam, specifically part 2, where you have to describe someone who influenced you.
Oh, right. Saying they were nice just really won't cut it.
Yeah, not at all. You say, my mentor's advice left an indelible mark on my career trajectory. You're painting a picture of a deep, irreversible change.
A total shift. And once you've made that mark, the next phase is often what we call a breakout role or a breakout hit.
Which is a sudden, major success that brings widespread recognition.
Though I feel like people overuse this one a lot, applying it to just any win. Like a successful Q3 earnings report isn't a breakout hit.
No, definitely not. A successful project just meets its predefined goals, It does what the prospectus said it would do.
Right. To me, a breakout hit implies you were relatively obscure yesterday, and today, everyone knows your name.
It has that element of surprise.
Yeah.
It shatters expectations and elevates a professional's status overnight from an unknown entity to, well, an industry focal point.
Yeah. So a colleague's presentation to the executive board wasn't just good. If it gets them pulled onto the CEO's special task force the very next day, that was a breakout hit.
Perfect example. Or back to the IELTS exam, you could describe your favorite actor's breakout role in a tiny indie film. It's that singular flashpoint of discovery.
Which accelerates us right into our third idiom, which is to catapult someone to stardom.
Meaning to launch someone rapidly to great fame. And I just find it fascinating that we use medieval siege warfare terminology to describe corporate or artistic success.
It really paints a vivid picture of momentum, doesn't it? Becoming famous sounds like climbing a ladder. It's a slow, grueling process.
It's a step by step, yeah.
But being catapulted, that means you were strapped to a rocket. You didn't walk to the top. A massive external force literally threw you there.
The sheer velocity is the defining factor here. If a viral marketing campaign catapults a startup CEO to industry stardom, it wasn't a 10-year grind of networking.
Right, it was an instant, unstoppable launch driven by market forces totally outside their direct control.
Exactly. And when you land from that launch, you hopefully arrive in the prime of one's life.
Ah, yes. This is the absolute best, most successful period of your physical, mental, or professional ability.
It feels a bit heavier than just saying someone is doing well, right?
Oh, totally. Because doing well is just a temporary status update. You could be doing well on a Tuesday and struggling by Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Being in the prime suggests you have hit the absolute zenith of your capabilities. There is a slightly bittersweet undertone to this phrase, too.
Because biologically and historically, you only get to experience your true prana once.
Right. It's the peak of the mountain. You might tell a colleague, you're in the prime of your career right now, so this is the time to take big risks.
You are acknowledging their maximum leverage, but, once you hit that peak, you usually want to stop answering to other people.
Yeah, you want independence, which marks the transition to our second career phase, establishing authority.
And the perfect phrase here is to hang out a shingle, which means establishing a private professional business.
I love the history behind this one because it's incredibly specific. Like, you wouldn't say your friend is hanging out a shingle if they're opening a bakery or a tech startup.
Right. No. It historically refers to the literal wooden signs, the shingles, that 19th century doctors or lawyers would nail outside their offices in small towns.
To announce their practice, it carries a real sense of solitary, licensed professional expertise.
So for an IELTS Part 2 response, you could vividly describe a friend who left the grind of corporate accounting to hang out her own shingle as an independent financial advisor.
Exactly. She's reclaiming her autonomy. And when you open that solo practice, you really have to shift your mindset to our next phrase, which is to sow the seeds of something.
Meaning to plant an idea or an initiative that will eventually develop. We shift from medieval war metaphors to agricultural ones.
Right, because starting a project sounds so industrial and immediate. You turn on the machine, you get the widget.
But sowing seeds implies a long, quiet incubation period. You're doing the grueling work now under the soil where literally no one can see it.
It demands immense patience. So if you are defending a low-yield initiative to a skeptical boss, you wouldn't call it a slow project.
No, you reframe it by saying you are sowing the seeds for a major community program next year.
You are using the idiom to manage their timeline expectations. It buys you time.
Definitely. Now, the dark side of being in business for a long time is our next phrase, to be entrenched in something.
Meaning firmly established and deeply embedded in a habit or practice.
I always picture World War I trench warfare here.
The visual is entirely intentional. Think about the difference between being involved in a project and being entrenched.
Oh, big difference. If you're involved, you can just walk away. It's a voluntary state.
Right. But if you are entrenched, you have dug a defensive hole in the mud. Removing yourself is nearly impossible without taking heavy damage.
It has this heavy, immovable, almost stubborn weight to it. Like in a strategy meeting, you might note that a competitor is too entrenched in outdated local community traditions to innovate.
They are trapped in the defensive mud of their own making.
But to contrast that rigidity, a truly dynamic leader relies on our next phrase, the sum of one's parts.
Which describes the total result of all traits and experiences coming together.
People often confuse this with looking at the big picture. But to me, the big picture is about zooming out on a situation or a chaotic market.
Yeah, the sum of one's parts is profoundly personal. It's about Gestalt theory, really. How a person's completely unrelated skills combine to make them a unicorn in their field.
It highlights synergy. When recommending a job candidate, saying they are smart isn't enough.
You say, her elite coding skills combined with her charismatic public speaking make the sum of her parts far greater than any single qualification on her resume.
The magic is in the combination. But wielding all those skills brings massive scope, which drops us into phase 3 of our career arc, which is navigating challenges.
And the phrase here is all-encompassing, meaning completely covering everything and requiring your full attention.
I hear this used interchangeably with comprehensive,
Yeah.
but they feel completely different to me.
Oh, they are. A textbook can be comprehensive, an audit can be comprehensive. It just means nothing was left out.
Right.
But all-encompassing carries a heavy emotional and physical tax. It means the subject consumes you entirely, leaving zero bandwidth for anything else in your life.
It's suffocating. Like if I tell my team that organizing the annual charity gala is an all-encompassing task, I'm warning them that it's going to eat their weekends and haunt their dreams.
It's total immersion.
Yeah.
And when leaders are drowning in all-encompassing problems, they become really vulnerable to our next phrase.
Which is to tout something as a cure-all. This means enthusiastically promoting a single thing as a magical solution to complex problems.
There is so much built-in skepticism in the word pout. It's not just highly recommending a product.
No, it evokes the 19th century snake oil salesman rolling into town.
Yeah.
You use this when you think someone is wildly overpromising.
Exactly. You'd use it as a diplomatic warning to your boss. You say, The vendor is touting this new AI software as a cure-all for our supply chain inefficiencies, but we need to manage our expectations.
You are subtly telling your boss not to buy the snake oil.
Because if you rely on a fake cure-all, you will inevitably head towards choppy seas.
Meaning moving toward a period of difficulty or instability. And here we are, back to human history, looking at the ocean to gauge our survival.
Maritime analogies are incredibly common in business because navigating the ocean requires the exact same skill as navigating a market foresight.
Yeah. If you are facing a problem, the storm is already raining on your head.
But if you are heading towards choppy seas, you are standing on the deck, feeling the wind shift, anticipating the turbulence before it even arrives.
It's purely predictive. In an IELTS answer, you could describe a time a volunteer event lost its major sponsors and started heading towards choppy seas.
You recognize the financial instability on the horizon before the event actually collapsed.
And to survive those choppy seas, you need a loyal crew. Which brings us to our final career phase, collaboration and legacy.
Our first phrase here is to be in camp with someone, meaning you share the same opinions or philosophy.
This goes so much deeper than simply agreeing. I mean, I can agree with a stranger that the train is late.
Right, but being in camp with someone implies a shared survival strategy. We share a tent. We share the fire.
It implies long-term philosophical alignment. You'd reassure a nervous coworker by saying, "Don't worry about pitching this to the board tomorrow. I am fully in camp with your new strategy."
You are declaring yourself a true ally. And while you're allied in that camp, you need to take note of something.
This means paying careful, deliberate attention for future reference.
Which is distinctly different from passive observation. You might notice that the office is cold, right?
Yeah.
But taking note is an active mining operation. You are physically or mentally recording data because you recognize its future utility.
So you would advise a new hire to take note of customer feedback during their training. You are instructing them to gather intelligence.
Exactly. And speaking of new hires, as you reach the twilight of your career, you will need to groom someone for something.
Meaning to carefully prepare someone for an important role.
Notice how this differs from training. You train someone to use the new spreadsheet software. It's transactional.
Wait, so it's not like basic training at all?
Right, no. Grooming is a long-term intensive mentorship focused on succession planning. You are molding their professional identity.
It's an incredible compliment, really. A boss might pull you aside and say, "I'm giving you this high-profile failure of a project because I'm grooming you for executive management."
They want to see how you handle the fire, and that leads to the ultimate act of any great career, to pass something down.
Transferring knowledge, items, or traditions across generations.
It's the difference between horizontal and vertical movement. Giving something is horizontal, peer-to-peer, immediate.
But passing down is vertical. It relies on gravity and time, moving from the older generation to the younger.
It carries such historical weight. In an IELTS response, you wouldn't say your grandmother gave you her cooking skills?
No, she passed down those intricate techniques or passed down family stories of resilience. It honors the lineage of the knowledge.
Exactly. Well, we have mapped out quite the career today.
We really have. Now it is time to put this into practice with the SpeakDuo vocabulary quiz.
Oh, I'm ready for this.
I'm going to test your knowledge with 8 questions based on the idioms we just explored. For each question, I'll read the options A, B, and C. I will repeat the target phrase so it stays fresh in your mind.
And remember, if you need time to think, feel free to pause the audio right after the options are read.
We will then reveal the answer immediately and give you a quick reminder of the nuanced meaning. Ready? Let's jump in. Question 1. Which sentence uses the idiomatic phrase "to leave an indelible mark" correctly based on context? Option A. The professional medical tattooing artist was instructed to leave an indelible mark during the skin pigmentation session. Option B. The deeply frustrated young retail clerk aggressively managed to completely drop a white line. Or option C. Her pioneering research on genetic expression left an indelible mark on the scientific community, shaping decades of subsequent studies. Feel free to pause the audio here if you need to think about how to use "to leave an indelible mark."
The answer is option C. While option A involves literal ink, remember that "to leave an indelible mark" is used figuratively in advanced English. Just like the mentor who altered your career trajectory, it's about lasting, foundational impact on a field or a person.
Exactly. All right, question 2. Select the context where the phrase "to catapult someone to stardom" is most appropriately used figuratively. Option A. Landing the lead role in the critically acclaimed sci-fi series instantly catapulted the young actor to international stardom. Option B. The professional medieval warfare catapult operator was instructed to catapult someone to stardom during the historical reenactment. Or option C. The incredibly clumsy warehouse inventory clerk accidentally managed to quickly buy some large systems. Take a second and pause the audio if you need to figure out the right context to catapult someone to stardom.
The correct answer is option A. Option B gives us a very literal and a very dangerous medieval weapons scenario. But we use this to describe extreme velocity in a career, like a sudden breakout role that launches you to fame faster than climbing the traditional ladder.
All right, strap in for the rocket ride. Okay, question 3. In which situation does someone accurately utilize the advanced phrase, to hang out a shingle, contextually? Option A. The professional roofing construction contractor was instructed to hang out a shingle during the residential house repair. Option B. After spending 5 years working as a junior associate at a large firm, she decided to leave and hang out her own shingle as an independent consultant. Or option C. The completely terrified young wilderness traveler unexpectedly noticed an exceptionally massive, heavy tool chest. Pause here if you're deciding who is actually hanging out a shingle.
It's option B. This phrase specifically honors those 19th century wooden signs outside private practices. It means starting an independent professional consultancy, like a lawyer or financial advisor, rather than literal roofing construction.
Yeah, leave the roofs alone for this one.
Yeah.
Question 4. Which response best demonstrates the advanced phrase, to head towards choppy seas figuratively? Option A. With key investors withdrawing their support and regulatory scrutiny increasing, the startup was clearly heading towards choppy seas. Option B. The professional maritime sailing captain was instructed to head towards choppy seas during the open water navigation exam. Or option C. The incredibly clumsy warehouse inventory clerk accidentally managed to quickly catch that white balance. Pause the audio if you want to navigate the answer to head towards choppy seas.
The answer is option A. Option B is a literal sailing instruction. Figuratively, it's about anticipating market or organizational turbulence on the horizon before the storm actually hits, like that volunteer event losing sponsors.
Spot on. Question 5. How would a professional accurately use the phrase, to sow the seeds of something, contextually? Option A. The professional agricultural farming agronomist was instructed to sow the seeds of something during the spring planting season. Option B. The completely confused amateur theater group unexpectedly decided to proudly paint a clean frame. Or option C. Her visionary research proposals sowed the seeds of a major technological revolution that transformed the industry 20 years later. Hit pause on the audio if you need to think about the best way to sow the seeds of something.
It's option C. Again, we aren't talking about literal farming in option A. We use this agricultural metaphor to describe the long, quiet incubation of ideas that will bear fruit years down the line. Love the patience in that one. All right, question 6. Which scenario perfectly illustrates the meaning of the phrase, to pass something down contextually? Option A. The professional logistical warehouse stock clerk was instructed to pass something down from the top inventory shelf. Option B. The master craftswoman took great pride in passing her intricate lace-making techniques down to the younger apprentices. Or option C. The incredibly clumsy hotel maintenance worker accidentally managed to quickly drop that red tray. Pause here if you're mulling over how to correctly pass something down.
The answer is option B. It's not about physically handing an item down from a top shelf. It's the vertical, generational transfer of heirloom knowledge, just like passing down a grandmother's stories or recipes.
Almost done. Question 7. Which sentence accurately utilizes the advanced phrase, to groom someone for something, contextually? Option A. Recognizing his exceptional leadership potential, the outgoing CEO spent 3 years grooming him for the position of chief executive. Option B. The professional canine pet grooming specialist was instructed to groom someone for something during the salon competition. Or option C. The deeply confused young kitchen assistant accidentally managed to quickly slice a fresh piece of four. Go ahead and pause to select the right use of to groom someone for something.
It is option A. Option B is a hilarious distractor about dog salons, but in a corporate context, grooming means long-term intensive mentorship aimed at leadership succession.
Finally, question 8, our last question. Which of the following statements correctly uses to be in camp with someone? Option A. The professional outdoor survival guide told the tourists they needed to be in camp with someone before sunset. Option B. The highly distracted accountant successfully decided to loudly fold a heavy shadow. Or option C. When the marketing director proposed the bold new rebranding initiative, the lead designer was entirely in camp with her vision from day one. Take a moment and pause to figure out what it really means to be in camp with someone.
The final answer is option C. Being in camp with someone isn't about setting up a literal tent in the woods. It indicates deep philosophical and strategic alignment with an ally.
And that wraps up our SpeakDuo vocabulary quiz. I hope avoiding those clumsy warehouse clerks and confused accountants helps lock in the real definitions for you.
It was a fun way to test it. What's truly illuminating is that when you string these 15 phrases together, they form a complete roadmap of an ambitious life.
They really do.
You hustle to leave an indelible mark. You inevitably sail toward choppy seas. And if you survive, you earn the right to pass your wisdom down.
It is the ultimate life cycle, which leaves you with a final thought to mull over today. Take a hard look at the environments you are currently entrenched in. Are those organizations actively grooming you for your next breakout role? Or is it time for you to pack up your expertise and hang out your own shingle?
Oh, that's a great question to reflect on.
Because the words you use to define your position often become the reality of your trajectory. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next deep dive into the English language. Have a great one.